Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to AriesEDC. This is a very strange opening to this video, staring into the darkness. But the last time that we left, I was in the middle of etching the blades, the Damascus blades. And I'm going to continue working on these projects until I get the March book spot blades back from heat treat, and it looks like I'm not going to have them back for at least another week as I'm filming this, so I better get booking on these because it looks like these are going to be done before the other ones. So I'm not going to stop talking April, March, whatever. It's the book spots and the Damascus builds, and I had the three etched. We had the crow, the spike, and the creep that I had etched. And I did 2 cycles in the gator piss on the spike and the crow, and then the creep I did in the ferrochloride. I wasn't 100% happy with the way that they had come out. I wish they were a little darker. So what I did is I mixed up a coffee etch, and I've already put them in to the coffee etch. I know, but I wanted to get it done. So I just kind of wanted to go over with you guys how I do the coffee etch. Now, I never wanted this channel to be a how-to type of channel. I am the last person to tell anybody how to do something. This is just how I do something, not how you should do something. And I'm sure there's people who've been making knives for several more years than I have, and they look at the way that I do things and they're like, you are an idiot, that's not the way to do it. But this is just how I do things, and the final product works, but I'm still learning new techniques that are saving me time and are better. So I'm always open to learn more, but I just share with you guys how I do things. I hope that makes sense. So this is what I do. The coffee etch, I have a container that I could put the blades in, and I use just any kind of instant coffee. I happen to have this one, but you can use all kinds of different, it's got to be the instant coffee. So this is just espresso instant coffee pylon. I sprinkle a bunch into the container. I fill it with hot water, and I throw the blades in. I make sure I clean them really well. I degrease them, make sure that they have no grease on them. I wear gloves so that my oils on my skin don't get on the blades. And then I throw them in here. This is a 6 to 8 hour soak. So these blades will sit in here all day. Usually I do it overnight. It's best because then at least I'm not sitting around watching this beautiful smelling gorgeous coffee do its thing. But I just set them in here and they soak for 6 to 8 hours depending on what I want. And I'm looking for a nice dark etch. This is how I kind of do my coffee etching, and we'll see what these look like when they come out. In the meantime, I have some things I need to be doing. I have to etch the maker's mark onto this super duper package hatchet. And I also, let's go out here. I also have 2 more. I have the Cardinal and the Cardinal XL that still need to be etched. So these 2 still need to be etched to see what we're going to do. So I need to prep these, clean them off, and throw them into the etchant. And then once those are into the etchant, then I'm going to go and put the maker's mark on that. And then the package hatchet, I think I'm going to acid etch and tumble as well, but I think I'll use the ferrochloride on that, and I'm going to use the gator piss for these 2. Funny name, but I spent the money on it, and I'm going to play with it to see what I can do differently with that. But going to be very cool, and I'm looking forward to finishing these up. And hopefully on this video, I can at least start talking handles. That would be pretty stinking cool. Actually, you got here. Let me go show you. First, sorry about the sun coming in, but I'm in the garage. Nothing I can do about that. So this is going to be the first one we're going to talk about. The spike is going to get the black burlap micarta. It looks very good. I just did a spike DVDs. EDC with DVD has his spike, and it's in this material. Except this one's going to have red liners and red hardware. So the pins and the tube are all going to be red. So black and red is a cool combination. So the spike is going to have that. The crow, I don't have all the materials here yet. They should be here today. Fingers crossed USPS comes through. And I'll share that with you hopefully later on in this video. But it's going to have a desert ironwood with a turquoise inlay, and I have some fun plans for that inlay. The Cardinal XL and the Cardinal are going to have some cool stuff. So the Cardinal XL, I have this material sitting here. This is leftover jute micarta and the leftover Jumagem. So this, the Cardinal XL, is going to get a bolster look with the jute micarta and then Jumagem on the rest of the handle. So I think this color combination is going to look cool with just a white liner between them and a white liner at the bottom with white pins. So the green and the white is going to be going on that one. And this one, I'm hoping to make this work. I drew it out and it seemed like it's going to work. So basically the same thing, except I'm going to do the blue jute micarta, the Admiral Blue jute micarta with, excuse me, the blue Jumagem. So it's going to kind of have that kind of look, and I'm going to, again, separate it with white. So we're going to have the white and the blue and the white and the green, and I think that is going to look pretty stinking good. I'm excited about putting all of that together. I have to build scales on all of them. So maybe while these are soaking, I'm going to etch that. I'm going to etch the maker's mark. Then I'm going to throw that in a soak. And then maybe I can start cutting out handle materials and creating scales. I'm going to have to create a scale for the two Cardinals and the Crow when that material gets here. I'm going to have to build a scale so that I can then work off something. So I have a lot of work to do, and plenty of time to do it though. So you know what? Time to get to work. All right, guys, so everything is soaking, and we'll go check on those here in a second. I've also laid out all the handle material on how this is going to kind of look. So just so you guys can kind of see it, it's going to be like this kind of bolster. Oh, that's so far away. So you're going to have the Admiral Blue jute micarta up against the Jumagem. This is like the Cayenne Jumagem. Oh no, I just realized that's not going to work. Do you guys see why it's not going to work? That's crushing. I thought I was so happy about what this is going to look like, and now it's not going to work. Can you guys see it? It's not going to work because this, although would fit on the knife, the layer of the Jumagem is going vertically. But if I go like that, on the other side, the layer of the Jumagem is going horizontally, and that's going to look like crapola. So, all right, scrap that idea. Darn it. Now I need to figure that out. Well, that's for the Cardinal, so let's put all that aside. Luckily, I haven't started cutting anything. Oh my goodness, I'm glad I caught that. But the Cardinal XL is definitely going to work, so because I have plenty of material here to make that work. So let's try that one. So it's going to have the green, and let's throw a little bit of the white in there. So you're just going to have a white separation, which is going to look pretty good. Just a little white line between those two materials, and then we're going to have white pins. So that's going to look pretty cool. You got the juniper jute micarta and the cayenne, or the green Jumagem. Yes, I said Jumagem. And that's just inside joke. But I think that's going to look pretty cool together with that little white pop of white in there. It's going to look good. And of course, the red, or the red and black, is going to look, that's just a classic look. It's going to look really good on that spike. So I have these ready to be cut out. I need to go back to the drawing board and figure out. That's annoying. I got to figure out what I was going to do. I was really kind of looking forward to that. These two kind of matchy, but different. But this is the only chunk of this material I have, and I really don't want to go buy another big chunk of this material. Plus, it's pretty thick. Anyway, I'll figure that one out, guys. I'll figure that one out. So let's come over to the etching station. So we have these guys all set up. Let's raise you up a little bit. All right, so I have my sodium bicarbonate solution, which is the neutralizing solution. Let's check on these real quick and see what they look like. Let's start with this. This is the package hatchet. I etched my maker's mark on it, and I got it in here. And yep, looking nice and dark. So this is gonna etch for a little bit longer. And this is going to get put into the stone wash. So I'm just going to neutralize it, and it's going to go straight into the stone wash. And we'll see what that looks like afterwards. These, I hold my breath on because I'm not sure how these are going to look. So this is the Cardinal and Cardinal XL in Damascus. So let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's pick this one. Yep. That looks pretty stinking cool, if you guys can see that. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. There you go. Yeah, that looks really, really good. All right, so I'm gonna let that go, let that sink in there. I think I'm gonna let that soak for probably another 5 minutes before I take it out. And the XL, yeah, yep, I'm happy with that. That looks pretty good. Ooh, I like that. That side. Can you guys see it? Yeah, that side looks good. All right, so I'm gonna let those soak, and we'll come back and hopefully not have to do this 3 or 4 times for these. All right, guys, I figured it out. I'll share what's in here in a second. So I got just the materials basically cut out for the spike and then for the Cardinal XL. So the Cardinal XL, we're going to do the green Jumagem with white liners, white spacers, and the juniper green, the juniper green jute micarta. So it's going to look good. So I think that's going to look like a good color combination. I got all that material cut out. So when this one is done etching and everything else, we could start doing handle materials. I'll start drilling the holes and then start really shaping all of this stuff up. Actually, what I need to do is build the scale. So I forgot. What I have to do is take all this material and glue all this stuff up. So I need to glue up this, figure out that, get that all in there. I think this goes like that, so that'll be perfect like this. So all that material gets kind of glued up like this. You can see the Jumagem is a little thicker, which is fine because this stuff moves really quick on the grinder, so I can thin that out within just a couple minutes, unlike some of the wood. So, oh wait, to give you guys the good look, let's see. So we're gonna put a spacer in here, bink. So you're gonna have the white spacer, the jute micarta, and the Jumajam. And then we line everything up. So I gotta glue up basically this scale and then smooth it all out. I think we will still be okay. So, gosh, such a lot of work. So I'm gonna take my time with this one because I wanna do this one, the next one, which I'm gonna show you, and the crow material all at the same time. I wanna glue all that up. This doesn't need to get glued. This can just be kind of put together as is. So let's set that aside. So what did I decide to do? Maybe you saw me cutting out that material, but we have this. This is going to be the liners. So we're going to have white liners. I guess I can turn it that way. And we are going to do full kieranite. We are going to do this royal kieranite, I think is what it's called. It's kind of like, what am I doing? Brown. So it's a brown kieranite that has some really cool movement in it. I've done a cardinal in this before and people thought it was actually wood. And it's actually kieranite. So that with this pearl white bolster. So I'm gonna do this with a pearl white bolster. So that's gonna look pretty cool. But I had this little piece of this laying around and I'm really excited about this. This turquoise color kieranite. And basically I'm gonna use this as a spacer. So this is gonna go here. And I'm gonna do white G10 liner material between this. So let's kind of place it all together in here. Give you kind of an idea of what all that's gonna look like. So it's gonna have the little pop of teal with the brown and the white with the little spacer material between there. I think that's gonna look pretty stinking cool. So I think altogether that's gonna look pretty stinking good. Obviously there's a lot of material to thin out and do all that, which I need to do on the grinder before I glue this stuff up, but it gives me plenty of opportunity to play with it. And we're just gonna do white pins and hardware. The only problem is I would really like to have the knife so I can lay out kind of where the holes are gonna go, but I think the bolster hole goes like right before this, and then that one goes here, and then the tube will be back there. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because that's when I start kicking myself in the butt for making mistakes. But I think that's a good start. What do you guys think? I think that's gonna look pretty stinking good. Let's go check on these blades. All right, so we're on our second etch with the Cardinal and Cardinal XL. Let's go ahead and take a look at what these look like. Yeah. All right, so I don't know, this lighting is horrible. Hold on, let me get a light over here. Let's shed some light on the situation. There we go. All right. So you can kind of see that. It's nice and dark. The problem is that is just like a surface and I can sand that off. Like if I took my finger and wiped it, it would actually come off. So I'm gonna pull these out, wipe them off, put them in the neutralizer so it neutralizes the acid, give them a little polish just to see what they look like. Or I might just do the oiling thing. I did two on the others and it turned out, ooh, I like that side. That side looks pretty good. So, all right, very good. I think the double etch is gonna be the ticket on these. Oh yeah, Cardinal XL looks good. That's gonna look pretty good. What about this side? Yeah, got some nice dark lines on that side. All right, very good. So I'm gonna get these cleaned up and do that. I also had the package hatchet in the tumble. I turned the tumbler off just because it's annoyingly loud so I can actually talk to you guys for this video. So I'm gonna get these cleaned up and get them soaking in the WD-40 over the sink like I did in the last video. and we'll see what they turn out. All right, guys, after I figured out all that handle material, I pulled out the acid etched and tumbled package hatchet. Came out pretty cool. So I'm gonna basically do the same thing I did with the Damascus. I'm gonna oil this down and hang this up. My finger's shaking. You see that? I can't hold it. Shaking. It's called getting old. So I put the maker's mark on it. I acid etched it. I tumbled it. Kind of gives it a fun look. So yeah, this one was fun. It makes me want to do more of this treatment to some moving forward. Definitely not this treatment. I'm not a big fan of this beard, and I haven't done the sheath yet, which means I'm going to be pulling my hair out again, trying to figure out how to properly do a sheath for this. But I kind of like the overall shape of this. Kind of fun. And again, we have the all important pry on that end. So we got the pry, sharpening edge, bottle opener. So all in one tool. So all right, I'm gonna oil this, let this soak in, and this one will be looking pretty good. All right, guys, what is going on? I want to check on these coffee etch. They've been in here for a couple hours now, and I just kind of want to check on them. I'm gonna stick my hand in and see what I got. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's see. I can feel, so I've been kind of coming in here and shaking things up. Of course, I grabbed the crow. So difficult to really see what's going on. Let's check that side. Yeah, it's coming out. I'm starting to wonder if I got it too polished, like I did too much of a fine polish, and that makes the etchant harder to sink in to the blade. But I also want to flip these over. So there's the spike. Not too bad. I'm starting to think maybe I over polished them. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. And so we got that one, and then the creep is, where is the creep? Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, wait, there it is. All right, so they're looking good. Long ways to go though. So let me put them back in, and another 4 hours, hopefully they'll be done. I don't know how I'm gonna turn this camera off. My hand's all wet. I'm gonna have to figure this out. All right, guys, so we're coming back. I have the 3 coffee etched blades still in here. I'm gonna pull them out. I have some really fine steel wool. I'm just gonna rub everything down. I also have the 2 Cardinals, Cardinal and the Cardinal XL, hanging here that are ready to be cleaned off too. So I have a marathon of just cleaning blades up, wiping everything down, and seeing how they do. Just a reminder, these 3, the Crow and the Spike, did 2 etching cycles in the Gator Piss and then coffee etched. The Creep did 1 etch in the ferrochloride and then they got the coffee etch. And these 2 did 2 cycles in the Gator Piss, and they have not been coffee etched. So we're gonna see what all of these look like. So I'm not gonna show this because it's kind of boring, but I'll check you guys once they're all cleaned up, and we'll see what I want to do next. All right, so I don't know. Survey says I have to be happy with this. So this Cardinal XL 2 cycles, etch cycles with the new product Gator Piss. And I don't know, it's so hard. Why am I having such a hard time getting that pattern to show. We got that. We got that. It's not bad. It's kind of cool. It's almost like Damascus steel type of look to it. So that's kind of fun. I'm guessing it's just the steel. There's a lot more of the, I don't know, like the dark etch kind of is less than the high polish stuff, which is weird. So here's my thought. So here's a contrast. So here's the Crow, and this had the coffee etch and the two, and it's basically the same as the Cardinal. They're basically the same. So I can continue doing this, but I don't think I'm going to be getting any kind of a different response. I'm not saying it doesn't look good, because it really looks pretty stinking cool. So, but I think I'm going to just end here, and I'm going to go with this. And I'm going to show you guys here in a second what I'm thinking. But here's the spike. Love that pattern. That pattern became really, really cool across the blade here. And then on this side, yeah, that's pretty stinking cool. And the creep is basically the same, and I did the ferrochloride and the coffee, and there was really no change. Everything was, it's basically the same. So here's the contrast. Here's my rock copper, and there's like a lot more black in there. So I don't know, maybe there's less layers of something else that's not, I don't know. I can't think of anything. The only thing I can think of, the only thing I did different is I got more of a high polish on these than I've ever been able to get before, and then I used the Baker Forge and Tool Gator Piss. But I also did not use the Gator Piss, and I did the ferrochloride, and it was basically the same result. So I'm just assuming it's the steel itself, which is weird, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they look bad. They look pretty stinking cool. I mean, that's basically a finished product right there. I just got to put an edge on it and put a sheath on this, and it's done. So that is pretty cool. I know the camera won't be able to pick it up, but you can see the layers on the spine, which is pretty cool. Maybe on the Crow. Yeah, on the Crow, maybe you'll be able to see the layers on the spine. So that's really stinking cool. I'm gonna get some photos of these in the sun to maybe show them off. But yeah, so we're done. We're done with the etching. I'm done with messing with this. I even put this one on the polishing wheel and polished it up just a little bit. So I might do that on these others as well, just to see if that changes anything. But this looks pretty good. So now it's time for us to start looking at handles. I have no handle for this one. I've already told you guys what I'm doing for these four. I don't have the handle material in yet for the Crow, so this can kind of get set aside while I start working on these. The spike, and I think the first ones I'm going to finish are the spike and the creep. The creep, like I just said, I just have to do a sheath for this one and then put an edge on it, and this one's done. I'm maybe a lanyard, I don't know. The spike, I know I'm doing the black burlap with the red liners, red pins, so that's not really a big deal. So I need to do that. I need to stop talking and start doing. And then these two, we have the other ones. So I can slowly start working on these two, and I can't really do anything with the Crow until that handle material comes in, which won't be here until for a couple days. So I have plenty of time to work on these. So I'm gonna get some photos and some videos of the blades on these, but say goodbye because I need to tape these up and we're gonna start working on handles. All right, guys, I went ahead and decided to put the creep in here. This is my new Kydex press that I just got, and I'm still trying to work out some of the bugs. Technically, this is supposed to be bolted down to a workbench, and then you're supposed to chain this off, and it's supposed to just be compressed by the chain, but I don't really have a workbench or a dedicated space to keep this all the time. So the clamp system is going to have to work. We're going to see if this actually does a good job. So the creep, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's in here, I promise. And then now there's really, it's nothing bad about my old sheet, my old Kydex press. So this is the new press, this is the old press. It just, the wood started to get compromised, and I think it's just because I was over tightening it. It didn't really need to be that tight, but I got new clamps and everything. So now basically I have a dual, I could do two things at once. So I have the creep in here, and I have that package hatchet in here. So I'm gonna get these guys done. I at least wanted to press them out. And then I have the spike, which we're gonna do the handles on, and these guys. I'm still waiting for the handle material to come in for the crow. And then the two cardinals, I have to create the scales for these two. The handle material for the crow should be in here tomorrow. So I'm hoping that I can get the handle scales for the two cardinals ready to create the scale. I have to glue up the scales for these because they're going to be multiple part construction, etc. Because I just want to be a pain. And the spike is just going to get the burlap micarta with a liner, so I could just work on that now. That's why I taped up the blades so that I can get to work on it and get this to glue up. So my goal is that I'm gluing this one up at the same time I'm gluing up these scales for these two. And then that way I can work on the handles, and then once these guys are ready, I can start working on the handles for them. So that's kind of what's going on, but all of that will be on the next one. I hope you guys are really enjoying these or excited about the Damascus blades coming. None of these are spoken for. Well, I can't say that. The spike is spoken for, but the two cardinals, the crow and the creep, are not spoken for and will be available on the Etsy store when I am done with all of them. When I'm done with all of them, I'll drop them all on the store and see when they're ready. These were supposed to be for April, just so you guys know, but looks like they might be ready by the end of March, or at least have a good start. But yeah, looking pretty stinking good. So thank you guys so much for watching. This video went way longer than I wanted it to, but this is what we do. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment, or not. The choice is always yours.